everyone, welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel with my preview of Newcastle's second home game in 7 days against Wolves tomorrow at St James's Park. 7:30 kickoff, remember, not 8:15 or 8. And now, just before I go into that, I just want to cover Louis Miley. Yes. Now, he was fantastic, wasn't he, on Sunday afternoon? Now, again, I will say the context of that is he was playing a League 2 team, but you've still got to beat what's in front of you, as proved against the other players who were on the pitch. He performed. He dropped into a 6. He was strong in the tackle. His passes were progressive. He had a good first touch, always looking forward. His balls broke the lines, as proven with his ball through to Willisula, and that eventually led to the goal. And he was brave enough to shoot on sight. Congratulations to Louis Miley. You can only play what's in front of you, and some players didn't step up. One of them being Sean Longstaff. He was poor. As I said in my last video, he lost possession the most times. He created no chances, won no duels, and had no shots. For a player of Longstaff's quality, who's always shown decent potential, it was a poor showing from him. And Harvey Barnes, I've had some comments saying I was a tad critical. Now, I didn't know that he injured his thigh taken across just before he went off at half time and he couldn't come back on. Now, that's unfortunate, but repeating what I've said there, you've got to play, you've got to perform. Eddie Howe saying you in training, if you're not starting ahead of Anthony Gordon, that's because Anthony Gordon's playing much better than he has. It's proven. He keeps getting goals, he keeps getting assists. Yeah, that's on Harvey Barnes. He's got to start being better in these games, and he hasn't been. All he's been so far, which again, yeah, he started the season well. He was getting with key goals. The corresponding fixture, we went Molyneux back in September when he got the last minute winner, when we played poorly until Shaw's Worldie came out of nowhere, and then he came up with an even better Worldie. But he was just an impact sub. He hasn't been affecting games from the start, so that's, despite his frustrations, you've got to perform. If the manager's not seeing you performing, and especially with Anthony Gordon's form, that's why Anthony Gordon's been playing and not Harvey Barnes. So, and again, I empathise. Yes, he's frustrated. He's been trying his best, but he didn't play well on Sunday, and now he's went off with a thigh injury, and I feel for him. I never want any player injured, whether it's for us or anyone else. It's just sad for him. Now he's out for a month, but other players can step up now, and you've got to say, in a way, we have got cover in that position. We do have, obviously, we can have Willock there on the left wing, and we've got Joe Linton who can play there. And as Miley proved, like I've just mentioned, he can drop into the 6 if we did need to change the system, or he's proved he can play in the 8. I mean, he has done that before, Miley. He scored that goal against Fulham, his first ever goal, December 23. I was going to say last December, but it's 25 now. I keep forgetting. You know, when you're at work and you keep writing 24 on your notepad instead of 25. Yeah, still not quite used to the new year yet. Miley can play in the 8 as well. His goal against Fulham, he showed his creative side. Not just that ball splitting the lines for Willisula on Sunday, but he done it for Alexander Isak in the 4-1 win against Chelsea. That little ball where Isak turned and put it top corner. But then the worry comes onto it, as was discussed with Eddie Howe today, PSR. Yes, PSR is becoming that annoying 3-letter word that everyone's frustrated with. Now, one thing I want to call out is, why the hell did the Premier League last night say that there was about half a dozen clubs at risk of failing PSR, and then nothing's come of it? Who are the clubs? They must have had some inkling that some clubs were going to fail PSR. Now, Eddie Howe said today we weren't one of them. But then Martin Ziegler came out and said, we're not one of them clubs. Now the Premier League have got no clubs who failed PSR, although there is still something penned against Leicester City from 22-23. But yeah, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Because again, Newcastle United, we had to sell. I'm going to come back to Miley for this. It was put on today quite rightly that would you want to lose Lewis Miley because he is an academy product, pure profit, but you don't want to go back to that scenario where we had to sell Yankuba Minta and Elliot Anderson, and he says obviously he doesn't want to lose them. We want to be keeping our best talent at this club and playing for the club, but the PSR dictates that sometimes you have to sell these players, and it's annoying. We're all bloody sick of it, because why should we have to sell these players like we had to do before the last PSR deadline? So we didn't take a points deduction, and now coming out and saying that other clubs haven't failed it. Now, Chelsea, they're one of them. Premier League's allowing them to sell the women's team to themselves, the hotels to themselves, academies to themselves. Make it make sense. Man United were going to have a 40 million shortfall of PSR last season. Oh, lo and behold, they got a loan to keep them compliant because they're one of the Cartel 6. And again, you've got the charges against City. We don't mind City here. We know how they feel, what they've went through. But again, other clubs, shareholders loans, again, why they're not included, more nonsense. So yeah, it's all frustrating. Why do we have to sell to progress? Why can't we keep our big players? So this is where it comes down to, we've got to be clever, and we've got to try and circumvent PSR by having Paul Mitchell be clever, but also on the pitch with the coaching team, with Eddie and his staff and Jason. We've got to try and get Champions League football. We've got to either increase St James's Park in capacity, we've got to get a new training ground, or get sponsors for the training kit, the training ground as it is at the moment, to try and get around this. We've just got to try every avenue we can, because PSR is creating a stranglehold. The same clubs are always at the top of the league and able to get away with everything and keep spending, yet we can't. Villa can't. Well, Brighton have got a good model, but you can guarantee something will come against us, something will come against Forest, something will come against Villa. Why? Because we're challenging the status quo. Louis Miley, you don't want it to come to that with him, because he's proven what a bloody good talent he is. Like I said, yes, the context is it's a League 2 team, but you can only beat what's in front of you, as I've said. But anyway, moving on to injury news. Sven Botman, Eddie Howe said that he wasn't in the matchday squad against Bromley because he had signs of fatigue. That was the right call, in my opinion. He's just come back from injury. He was a stalwart after, yes, he conceded against Spurs, but he was rusty. Then he's just stepped up and was quality against Spurs, quality against Arsenal. So it was the right call to rest him. Joe Willock, Jacob Murphy, they're touch and go. We'll wait and see what happens with them. The big one, Alexander Isak. Eddie says he's there or thereabouts. He was back in training today, so that's excellent news. Obviously, he's going for a club record of scoring in 8 consecutive games. The record at the moment is 7 by Joe Willock when he first joined on loan, and Alan Shearer. So he's looking to match the record set by Jamie Vardy, who's done it twice for Leicester City. Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's done it twice for Manchester United. And also, oh yes, Daniel Sturridge, that's it, when he'd done it for Liverpool, but only once. Anyway, Wolves team news, let's come on to that. Now, I checked the Premier League website for their injury news. Now, Mosquera, Medina, Kaladzic and Traore have all been out with knee injuries. They're not going to make the game tomorrow. And that also includes Gomez, who's got a thigh injury, which is what has ruled Harvey Barnes out for a month. Going on to their other players. Now, the main one they've got back, obviously their biggest threat, is Matthias Cunha. He's had an excellent season for Wolves so far. Now, his ban, which he got for his part in that melee, if I remember right, looked like it could have been more than 2 games, but it was only 2 games for some reason. So it means his ban was up yesterday. He should have returned today, according to the Premier League website. Also back for them are Nelson Semedo, Craig Dawson and Mario Lemina. So that's a big boost for Wolves. I've just been looking at their top scorers and assists. Wolves have got threats all over the pitch. Looking at their assists, honestly, it's fantastic what they have at the moment. They've got Lemina and Semedo on 3 assists, Guedes and Cunha on 4, and Ryan Aït-Nouri on 5. And their top scorers are Ryan Aït-Nouri on 3, Strand Larson on 7, Matthias Cunha on 10. So it's proof that their main threats come from their wing back in Aït-Nouri, well, full back if you like, Strand Larson, Matthias Cunha, and Semedo. Wolves are a good team. Obviously, they've just got Vitor Pereira in. They did have Gary O'Neill. Now, I've got to say this about Wolves. Wolves have been a lot more impressive than their results in league position will tell you. They are currently 17th at the moment on 16 points, so it is underwhelming for the performances they have put in. But the thing with Wolves is they're good in attack, but shocking in defence. That's where I still think we'll win tomorrow. Despite the new manager coming in, they look like they've took to him straight away, a bit more confidence, playing all right. But again, the defence is still poor, and that's where Newcastle, I think, will exploit them. I've got some stats again here. You know, I love a stat, as I always say. Their last 5 games, they've lost, won, drew, lost. They've got the most goals in games for any other team this season in 76. They've scored 31 and conceded 45. That's absolutely nuts. And out the 19 games that we've played against Wolves, there's been 11 draws. That's based on a minimum of 15 Premier League games, which is a Premier League high. There's been no game drawn more than Newcastle against Wolves. Now, an interesting stat is we haven't done the league double over Wolves since 1905 to 1906. So yeah, that is a hell of a long time. Though again, caveat to that is we've both been in different divisions at times. We've been in the top flight a bit more than Wolves, but then we've also had stints obviously in the second tier. So that can be excused. In Wolves' last 3 visits here, they've lost and they haven't scored a single goal, and Newcastle have won the last 4 out of the 6 games against Wolves as well, so that's good for us. In 16 Premier League away games as well, Wolves have only got 2 wins, so that's not a good omen for them. They've been on a poor run, understandably, as that screams away from home. And to finish with stats against Wolves, yes, Wolves are on 16 points. They're currently 4th bottom. The highest they can go is 16, so they only climb a place if they do win here. Now, Wolves' last win at St James's Park was the 9th of December 2018. They won 2-1, so it's been more than 6 years since they won here. The last game against Wolves at St James's Park were won 3-0. That was back in March, and the corresponding fixture to this, when I said I was down at Molineux, when Shaw pulled a worldie out of nowhere, when we didn't look like getting anything, and then Harvey Barnes got an even better worldie to win it, and we were just singing Joy Division all night. Barnes will tear you apart again. Yeah, so we're home record against Wolves. We've played 9 in the Premier League. We've won 4, drew 4, and just that one game we've lost, which I mentioned back in December 2018. Lost the 1. We've scored 16 and conceded 9 with a goal difference of 7. And we're overall Premier League record against Wolves. They win it overall with old First Division games, FA Cup and League Cup all in. Overall Premier League record against Wolves is played 20, won 6, drew 11, lost 3. We've scored 29 and we've conceded 21. So yeah, it's always an entertaining fixture, this one. A couple of other things to mention. On Tuesday night at Arsenal, it was Eddie Howe's 150th game as Newcastle United manager. His record on that time is 74 wins, 40 defeats and 36 draws. And Newcastle United are going to try and match their club record of 9 consecutive wins tomorrow in all competitions. The last 2 Newcastle teams to do that was obviously the one legendary Kevin Keegan, King Kev in the 90s, and the last Newcastle United manager to do it after him was Rafa Benitez in the championship season of 2016-17. Now, I believe that run went up to, as I went to most games that season, was December. I think the run ended. I think Blackburn the ones to be the party poopers. So yeah, Newcastle going to try and match the club record tomorrow. Not getting ahead of myself, but if we do, then to begin against Bournemouth on Saturday, where we could make it a club record 10 consecutive wins. Now, madly, it wasn't that long ago since Newcastle actually got 6 consecutive wins. The last time we'd done it was December 2022, also under Eddie Howe. Obviously, the season we finished 4th, so in a way it is a surprise, but it also isn't. And now, in this 8 consecutive game winning run, Newcastle have scored 23 goals and only conceded 3. That's just absolutely incredible. And obviously Alexander Isak's been key to that, so is Anthony Gordon, all the players, the defence all the way through to the attack. Especially, you've got to mention Jacob Murphy. Honestly, he might be doing his Miggy purple patch like he done in 22-23, but fair play to him. Just got to say though, there's been some links today saying apparently it's back on for Miggy, either going to Charlotte FC in America, Olympiacos in Greece, or back to South America to Botafogo, where he'd be playing in Brazil. But again, Eddie Howe's quashed them rumours, but he's not going to reveal anything. Also being rumoured that Diego Carlos's move for Aston Villa has broken down with Fenerbahce. And there's been reports, though Turkish media can be unreliable, that Fenerbahce are in for Lloyd Kelly. So just wait and see on that one. But again, both of them stories taken with a pinch of salt. Big, massive congratulations as well, I've got to say, to Alexander Isak, man of the moment, currently the world's and Europe's best striker. He's won the PFA Fans' Player of the Month. So well done, Alex. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, son. And a couple of other things I've just got to cover. It's not even a few things, actually. I've just been thinking about it there. I just took a little pause. But yes, it's Opta rankings. They currently have Newcastle in current form as the 13th best team in Europe. We're ahead of the likes of Napoli and Chelsea. So long may this run continue. Obviously Liverpool are at the top, but we've got a rating of 93 points something. I think I'll find it and I'll put it on the screen. Now, a few other things. One present and two in the past. 18 years ago today, Obafemi Martin scored that thunder bastard at Spurs when he hit the ball at something like 70, 80 miles an hour, I think it was. I don't know how it didn't take the net off or the goal out the ground. But yeah, Obafemi Martin's 18 years ago today. That's just mental to think someone born on the day that goal hit the top corner. They're now at legal drinking age. As long as they don't have a calling like that lad did with his dad, who's been going around social media. Something else. Oh yes, Johan Cabaye. It's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Dreamboat. Hope you have a good one. And finally, Lee Ryder. Just got to say this now. I'll post it on the screen for you all to see. A lot of you will see it, but I had to share it again because it is basically matching what we call the Chronicle these days. It's the comical. What he was doing, saying Botman got a 7 against Bromley. Botman wasn't even in the squad, so I don't know what he was watching. But for once, well, a Chronicle journalist on the screen, and there won't be a million adverts that you have to close. Isn't that a miracle? Not a Christmas miracle, that's a New Year miracle. Now, just before the sun goes down, I'm just going to head back home now. Say a couple of last things. Newcastle United actually topped the list for 369 games played in the FA Cup, the most of any other team, ahead of Manchester United. The only downside to that is we haven't got the trophies to back that up. So it would be good for once if we can't actually do that this season. Now, it's going to be a big ask winning the domestic cup double, but it's just a great start to see. Just how far we've used to get in the Cup. And speaking of the FA Cup, even though it is a league game tomorrow, I've just got to pan Sunderland. Sunderland, you're an absolute embarrassment. A lot of them are blaming flu, cold weather. Cold weather, the flu. It's January, it's the FA Cup third round, and they're saying rising ticket prices. That's nonsense too, honestly. It's just nonsense why you're not turning up. What was it, 15,000 against Stoke? And I don't care if you played them 3 times in so many days or so many weeks. 15,000 is an absolute embarrassment. They're saying the FA Cup's lost its glamour, the magic of it. I don't think it has. Like, overall, you make it what you make of it. Look, the FA Cup, yes, it's now spread across a Thursday to a Monday. Again, it's to maximise TV coverage and money. But like the 3 p.m. blackout, if they get rid of that, fans are not going to affect attendances. They're always going to attend games. And 15,000 for an FA Cup third round game at home is pathetic. I mean, you're not on back shift at Nissan. Stop blaming the flu. Stop blaming it's cold. You put on layers and you go and watch your team. And I'll put some other stats on the screen now. I'll get them. 11th of December 2018, 8,212 turned up at home against Walsall in his second round replay. That's pathetic. 22,163 against Wigan in December 2003. That's pathetic. and 3,498 in the AFL Trophy game against Oldham. So none of you have got any right to criticise 15 years ago when we got like 18,000, sorry it was, not 11 or 12 against Plymouth. So again, that was midweek. So you're criticising us, but your attendances are absolutely shocking. So basically, you're always in with shadow. You'll never be bigger than we. You have less trophies than we. Your club's crap. You can't even fill your ground. So Sunderland, just know you'll never be bigger than Newcastle. Your home crowds will never be better than Newcastle. Your away following will never be better than Newcastle. We're going to win a trophy before you, and you're never going to be in Europe in our lifetime. So there, that's what I need to say. Absolutely pathetic. There was lots of grounds that sold out for the FA Cup third round, but yous couldn't. There's no excuse. You go along and follow your team regardless of the weather if the game's on. A beautiful sunset. I've just got to head back up the road in a minute to home. So my prediction for tomorrow, I think it's going to be Newcastle United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. A repeat of the win back in March of 2024. I just think, despite Wolves having players back, we're going to slip straight back into a league form with Isak, with Gordon, with Murphy, with the best midfield in the league, with one of the best defences in the league, and a goalkeeper bang in form. I just think Newcastle will coast to their 9th consecutive win. There'll be a bit of a scare, but it'll be a 9th consecutive win, and Newcastle, if results go away tonight, could go up to 4th place in the table. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you very much for watching. The sun's almost gone, so I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you all have a good Tuesday evening, and I'll be back with my post-match reaction tomorrow once I leave St James's Park. So time to head home and have some tea. Goodbye everyone, enjoy your night.